One evening, after planting some seeds in their backyard, they returned home exhausted but content. After dinner, they bathed, and just as they lay on their small bed, a soft drizzle began outside. Then the rain poured heavily, lightning flashing across the sky. Chikezie suddenly clutched his head, his face contorting in pain. Chikezie, what is it? Oluchi cried, grabbing his hands. He gritted his teeth, his whole body tensing. The sound of thunder shook something deep within him, unlocking a part of his mind that had been lost in the shadows. His breathing became ragged, his fingers clawing at the sheets. Oluchi, he whispered desperately. She cupped his face, pressing a firm kiss to his lip, hoping to calm him down. Chikezie immediately melted into the kiss, his grip on her loosening. The rain pounded against the roof, but in that moment they were lost in each other. Their kisses grew deeper, more urgent. Soon their clothes fell away, and for the first time since they were married, they became one. The storm raged outside, but within their small hut, love bloomed in its purest form. As the golden morning light streamed through the window, Oluchi stared awake, her body still tangled with Chikezier's. Her cheek burned as she remembered the night before. She never thought she would be so bold. Chikezie tightened his arm around her, kissing her forehead. "Good morning, my love," he murmured. "Good morning," she whispered shyly. They stood up and got ready for their day. Obianuju would often come to Oluchi's shop to mock her, but as before, she paid no heed to her aunt. As Oluchi packed up to head home, dark clouds gathered. Then the rain started falling. Her heart pounded. She knew how Chikezie was during storms. "I need to get home. He needs me." She grabbed her things and ran, her feet splashing in the muddy ground. "I'm coming, my love," she whispered to herself. But the market was far from home, and if she ran through the downpour, she might fall sick. Just as she was debating what to do, a car pulled up beside her, its tires splashing water onto the muddy path. A man stepped out, holding an umbrella. He was tall, well-dressed, and had an air of confidence. "Hello, young woman," he said, his deep voice cutting through the rain. "I saw you running and I wanted to help. Can I give you a ride?" Oluchi hesitated. I don't think that's a good idea," she replied, shifting uncomfortably. "Oh, I mean no harm," he said quickly. "By the way, my name is Ofo, and I am from this village." Oluchi studied his face for a moment before nodding slightly. "Okay, thank you," she said hesitantly. Ofo smiled and helped her into the front seat, shielding her from the rain with his umbrella. The car heater was on, warming her skin almost instantly. The scent of expensive cologne mixed with the leather seats, and for a brief moment she felt an overwhelming sense of comfort. Her mind wandered as she thought of her parents, of how they used to drive her around when she was little. "I miss them so much," she said within her. Ofo's voice pulled her back into the present. "So what's your name?" he asked. "Oluchi," she said softly. Ofo smiled. "You truly live up to your name, the work of God." His eyes lingered on her so close, which clung to her body, revealing her curves. Oluchi noticed his lingering gaze and immediately crushed her arm over her chest. "I'm sorry," Ofo said, his voice dropping to a husky whisper. "I couldn't help myself." Oluchi shifted uncomfortably, looking out the window. Soon they reached her home. "Thank you for the ride," she said quickly, grabbing her things and stepping out. She hurried down the narrow path to her hut, eager to see her husband. As soon as she entered, she changed into dry clothes and quickly rushed to Chikezie, wrapping her arms around him. "I'm so sorry it took me so long to get home," she whispered, rubbing soft circles on his back. Chikezie exhaled deeply and pulled her closer. "Oh, my love, it's not your fault," he murmured. "The rain was too much, so I understand." His lips found hers, and soon their clothes were forgotten and they made love, twice, wrapping in the warmth of each other. Afterward, as they lay entangled, Chikezie traced soft patterns on her back. "I may not remember much about my life before, but I feel like you are the best thing that has ever happened to me," he said huskily. Oluchi blushed, pressing a kiss to his cheek. You are my miracle, Chikezie, and I love you. They held each other tightly, falling asleep in each other's warmth. The next afternoon, Oluchi was outside, tending to her growing crops when she saw a familiar figure approaching. Her stomach twisted. It was Ofo. Good afternoon, sir, she greeted, her voice weary. What are you doing here? Ofo chuckled, his eyes gleaming. I thought you would be happy to see me, he said. At least offer me a seat. Oluchi hesitated but eventually motioned for him to sit. Ofo handed her a bag. Here, I brought you some gift. Why? She asked, frowning. It's the least I could do, he said with a smirk. Take it, it's harmless. After a moment of hesitation, she took the bag inside. When she returned, Ofo's gaze held something intense. Oluchi, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. The thought of you has filled my mind since we last met. Oluchi froze. I would like us to get to know each other, he continued, leaning in slightly. Before she could respond, Chikezie stepped out of the hut. My love, who is there with you? He asked. Oluchi quickly turned to Ofo. Please leave. I'm married and I do not want to see you again. Ofo's face darkened, but he said nothing. He simply nodded and walked away, but in his mind, he had no intention of letting her go. Who was that? Oluchi, Chikezie asked. No one, she replied quickly. Chikezie's face tensed. What do you mean no one? We have been together for months and you have never had a visitor before. Oluchi sighed. I only met him once before. He gave me a lift while it was raining, she explained. Chikezie's expression darkened. You tell me everything, but you didn't feel the need to tell me about this. I didn't think it was important, she insisted. What did he want? Chikezie pressed. He said he couldn't stop thinking about me, but I told him I was married, she answered truthfully. Chikezie's jaw clenched. Return the gift, he said. Oluchi crossed her arm. That's not going to happen. They are mine, and I will decide what to do with them. Chikezie's chest rose and fell heavily. You really won't listen to me? He asked, his voice quiet but strained. I have always listened to you, Oluchi said, her tone finer, but this time I won't. For days, Chikezie barely spoke to her. She would serve him food before going to the kiosk, only to return to find it untouched. At night, they lay back to back, neither wanting to be the first to speak. The weight of their unspoken words pressed heavily on them. Finally, one evening, Oluchi broke the silence. Is this how we are going to continue? She asked softly. Chikezie turned to her. I might be blind, but I'm still your husband, he said. You disobeyed me and still think you are in the right. I thought you were being insecure and overly jealous, she admitted. Jealous, Oluchi? I am jealous because I love you, he said, his voice rising. If you love me, you will trust me, she replied. Chikezie sighed. I trust you. It's him I don't trust, he said. Oluchi reached for his hand. I'm sorry, she whispered. It's been years since I received a gift from someone. It made me happy. Promise me you will stay away from him, Chikezie said. I promise, my love, she said. They embraced, sealing their love with a deep kiss. But somewhere in the village, Ofo watched from a distance, unwilling to let go. The market was bustling as Oluchi arranged her fruit, humming softly to herself. Her hands moved swiftly, wiping mangoes clean, her smile never fading as she attended to customers. From a distance, Ofo watched. He leaned against a wooden stall, his arm crossed, his eyes following her every move. That smile, that energy. She's mine. She just doesn't know it yet. Oluchi, unaware of his presence, suddenly heard a familiar voice. Oluchi! She turned and her heart leaped. Ngozi! She cried happily, rushing to embrace her cousin. They held each other tightly, warmth filling their hearts. I have been asking around for you, Ngozi said, her eyes scanning Oluchi's face. I have missed you, Oluchi said, her voice laced with emotion. They chatted for a while, laughter filling the air before Ngozi promised. Next time, I must meet your husband. As Ngozi walked away, she gave Oluchi her phone number to call her whenever she needed. One Saturday afternoon, the clouds darkened unexpectedly. Oluchi felt the shift in the air and quickly began packing up her fruit. The first raindrop hit her skin and then a torrential downpour. I need to get home to Chikezie. She gathered her things hurriedly, wrapping a cloth over her head. As she ran, a black Milan car pulled up beside her. Her heart sank. She didn't need to see the driver to know who it was. She picked up her pace, mud splashing against her legs. Oluchi wait or fall cold, stepping out with an umbrella. She ignored him, her feet moving faster, despite the slippery road. He chased after her and soon caught her wrist, yanking her towards him. "Let go of me," she yelled, struggling. The rain poured over them, their clothes clinging to their bodies. "I just want to help," he said, his voice oddly calm despite the storm. Oluchi yanked her arm free. "Why are you always here when it rains? Don't you have a life? Or are you stalking me?" she demanded. Ofo chuckled darkly. "Don't be childish. Get into the car." Her eyes flashed with defiance. "No, now leave me alone." Ofo's interest in her only deepened. "I won't," he said, stepping closer. Panic flashed in Oluchi's eyes. She pushed him and ran. Her feet pounded against the wet floor until she slipped. A sharp pain shot through her skull as her hair struck a broken glass bottle lying in the muddy path. She let out a muffled cry before everything went black. Back home, Chikezie sat on the bed trembling. The thunder roared, echoing deep in his chest. His fingers dug into his arm, his body shaking with anxiety. "Oluchi," he whispered, but she wasn't home yet. His heart pounded erratically. His breath came in sharp gasps, his hands clutching his head, and then flashes, blurry images, a house, a father's angry face, a mother's soft lullaby, a wedding, a woman crying, pain. His body jerked violently and then darkness swallowed him. Ofo watched as the blood from Oluchi's wound mixed with the rainwater. For the first time he felt fear. What have I done? He scooped her into his arms and rushed back to his car. With his heart pounding, he drove her home, dried her body, changed her into warm clothes. He also attended to the cut on her head and covered her with a warm blanket. As he watched her sleep, a thought settled in his mind. She's mine now, and she will learn to love me. Morning came. The golden rays of sun streamed through the small window as Chikezie stared. His eyes fluttered open. Then he squinted. For the first time in what felt like eternity, he could see. His head ached as small memories flooded in. His childhood, his family, his engagement to Adora, the accident, and Oluchi. "Oluchi, my love." He sat up abruptly, his hands reaching for her beside him, but the bed was empty. His heart dropped. Panic set in. Where was she? He staggered outside, asking everyone he could find, but they all gave the same response. "Since the heavy downpour, we haven't seen her." His chest tightened. Please let her be safe. That afternoon, a visitor arrived. Chikezie's hand curled into fist the moment he heard Ofo's voice. "Oluchi is with me now," Ofo said smugly, his arms crossed. Chikezie lunged at him, gripping his shirt. "Where is my wife?" he demanded, his voice raw with desperation. Ofo smirked. "She's never coming back. She belongs to me now." Chikezie shook with fury, but before he could react further, he felt a sharp prick in his arm. His vision blurred. What is happening? He collapsed. Ofo pocketed the empty syringe and walked away victorious. Few days later, Ofo took Oluchi to the city where he kept her under treatment. Days passed. Chikezie woke up, his head throbbing. The event of that day came rushing back. Tears filled his eyes. He knew there was nothing left for him there, so he returned to his father's house. His family welcomed him back with open arms. "You are welcome home, my son," his mother whispered, holding him close. His father, overcome with joy, wasted no time in proposing a plan. "Adora still isn't married. You were supposed to marry her. You should correct that mistake. And so he agreed, with the knowledge that Oluchi was with Ofo now. Wedding preparations were in full swing, and 4 days before the wedding, a visitor arrived, Oluchi. She stood frozen as she saw Chikezie for the first time in weeks. Chikezie turned. Their eyes met. His heart stopped. His mind told him she was a stranger, but his soul knew better. Oluchi ran to him and embraced him tightly. For a moment he stood still. Then his arm wrapped around her instinctively. Her scent, familiar, comforting, mist. Memories flooded back. This is my wife, my love. But then Ofo's words replayed in his head. She left with him willingly. His arms dropped, pushing her away. Why are you here? He asked coldly. Oluchi stared at him, shocked. I thought you would be happy to see me, she whispered, her voice breaking. His eyes darkened. I would have been if you didn't disappear with him. Tears fell down Oluchi's cheeks. Please allow me to explain. She reached for his hands. Their fingers touched. Their eyes locked, and after a long silence, he nodded. The room was dimly lit, the small lantern between them flickering as the evening breeze crept through the open window. Oluchi sat close to Chikezie, her hand trembling as she held his. Her heart pounded as she finally spoke. I was running to get home to you, my love, she whispered, her voice raw with emotion. The rain was heavy, and I was desperate to reach you, but then I fell. Chikezie tightened his grip on her hand, his brow furrowing with worry. Ofo was there, she continued, her breath hinching as she relieved the horror. He ran after me, and when I fell, he took me against my will. I told the doctor that I had been kidnapped and begged for help. Luckily, I had Ngozi's number of heart, and then I called her. She was the one that brought me back to the village. She turned, pulling her hair aside to reveal the scar at the back of her head. Chikezie's eyes softening instantly. His fingers traced the scar with gentle care. Oluchi, he whispered, his voice shaking. He pulled her into a tight embrace, burying his face in her neck. Are you better now? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. She nodded against his chest. I am, my love. His hold on her tightened, and she felt his body tremble. I thought I lost you, he confessed, his voice breaking. I woke up the next day and I could see my memories had returned, but you were gone. She smiled through her own tears as she pulled back slightly to look into his eyes. I love you so much, my husband. Chikezie's lip trembled as he smiled back. I love you too, Oluchi. But then his smile faltered. But, he stuttered. Oluchi's stomach twisted in fear. What is it, my love? She asked, her fingers cupping his face. He sighed, looking away as if ashamed. Things are complicated now, she froze. How? She whispered. Chikezie exhaled deeply. I thought you had left me for Ofo. I had no idea where you were, and after my memories returned, I thought about going back to my father's house. He agreed to take me back, but under one condition. He hesitated. I had to marry Adora. He finally admitted. I thought you weren't coming back, so I agreed. Oluchi's heart shattered. What? She gasped, tears pooling in her eyes. Pain shot through her chest as she tried to process his words. So, what's going to happen to me now? She asked, her voice barely audible. Chikezie immediately held her face, his thumb wiping away her tears. Don't think too much, my love, he said firmly. I'm never going to leave you. I'm going to talk to my father about us. Chikezie looked at her. She was the most beautiful woman for him. She is beautiful in and out. Their love deepened, their soul entwined, and for the first time in a long time, they felt whole again. That evening, Chikezie took Oluchi to meet his father. The old man sat on his high-backed chair, his eyes narrowing as Oluchi entered. His gaze dripped with disdain, cold and unwelcoming. "So you are the one," his father muttered. "Father, I brought Oluchi because—" "Enough!" The older man interrupted. "Leave. Your task is done. I can settle you handsomely, and you will allow him to marry the woman of his dreams." Oluchi stiffened, gripping Chikeze's hand tightly. Chikeze's face darkened. "Father, this was never my doing. It was your plan all along. I will not let you dictate my life for me. I refuse to marry Adora." His father's eyes flared with anger. "You will marry her, or you will leave my house," he spat. "Then I will leave," Chikeze said without hesitation. Oluchi's heart swelled with love. She was not going to be selfless this time. She loved this man, and no one would take him away from her. They left hand in hand, returning to their small hut. Humiliated, Chikeze's father was furious. He will regret his decision. He hired men to kill Oluchi, but they fled to the city just in time. Chikeze's mother had previously given them some money before they left the house. Life in the city was not unfamiliar to Chikeze. With his mother's money and his sharp mind, he quickly found a way to provide for them. They built a home together, free from the burdens of the past. They laughed, they loved, they thrived, and soon they welcomed a son together. Years passed, and one day, Oluchi received a call from Ngozi, telling her that Obianuju would like to come to the city and visit her, and she swore that her mother had changed. Oluchi agreed, and one day, she tried to poison Oluchi. Chikeze happened to see her putting something in the food. Chikeze didn't know what it was, and if he confronted her, he was sure she would deny, so he switched the plate. Obianuju returned to the village the next day, and it was heard that she died a week later from food poisoning. In the quiet of their home, Chikeze watched Oluchi play with their children. She laughed, her joy infectious. His heart swelled with love. "My love," he called. She turned, smiling at him. He walked over, wrapping his arms around her waist. "I fought for us. You fought for us, and look at us now." She leaned into him, pressing a kiss to his cheek. "We got our miracle," she whispered. And as they stood there, surrounded by their children, their love, and their hard-won peace, Chikeze knew that no matter what happened, he would choose her over and over again. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share. See you in our next one. Bye.